Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for listening. This is Matthew from 3x5goals.com. We're talking today about privacy. Privacy is one of those things that has increasingly been an important, I guess it's been topical. It's kind of been on people's minds, especially with the onset of the internet, social media, all this brand new frontier. It's still the wild, wild west. I heard somebody say the other day, it's so true, the internet, in the huge picture of things, the internet's just a blip on the radar. It's only been around for, 15, now, I don't know, 20 years, whatever it is, officially, and we're still trying to figure it out. You know, as I've been watching the congressional hearings for the Mark Zuckerberg testifying before Congress, it's amazing to me that so much of his information is as if it were brand new. And a lot of these congressmen are like, well, but Facebook is doing this. And he's like, yeah, when you first set it up, you agree, and then you have complete control over what you share and who gets to see it. The only problem is nobody pays attention to it. How many people actually go into their feeds and clean up? So I want to talk about privacy today, but I want to get off the topic of your settings. As soon as I say this, if you haven't yet, go in to each of your social media accounts, go into Snapchat, go into Twitter, go into Facebook, go into LinkedIn, just take 5 minutes per social media platform is all it would do. Go to the privacy settings and just look through them and be aware of what you've chosen to put out there publicly to the world. And be okay with whatever you decide. We have to take responsibility for our own actions. So Facebook and all them are going to do what they're going to do with our information. If they're violating laws, that's another issue, but of course they're going to be serving up our information in hopes of attracting advertising. I mean, they're a for-profit company, right, in a capitalist society. So they'll go, hopefully they don't abuse that information. And I'll be the first in line if they do. But for now, it's kind of funny how so many people are so concerned about the privacy, but they have no idea. They've never checked. They've never read any documents. They don't look at the settings. And they put stuff out there, and then they're like, what? How does Facebook know all this about me? Well, because you gave it to them. You gave it to them. And if you're not okay with that, don't give it to them. All right? That's me and my little soapbox there. So take a minute and go through your privacy. That's number one. Number two, let's talk about privacy on a broader scale for a minute. Privacy, like not just in your settings, but living private lives. I believe, with everything that I've researched and seen and noticed and felt myself, I believe that we are healthier when we have some privacy, some element of privacy into our own lives. I'm not talking about safeguarding top secrets. That's reserved for people running for office. All right, that was dumb. It's true, though. But I'm talking about oversharing and not putting everything out there for everyone all the time. When Twitter first came on, it was made fun of that Twitter, if you want to learn what someone ate for breakfast, then you follow them on Twitter. Now, I think people have grown up a little since then, and it's become much more sophisticated, and it's come a long ways. But there's still a lot of people who use their social media platforms for every detail of their lives. I'm sick this morning. I think I'm going to read this book, or I had this for breakfast, or I'm taking my dog on a walk, or I'm going to this restaurant tonight, or you know what? The world doesn't need to know everything that happens in your life. Now, I think there's a couple of things that occur when we overshare. The first is that we feel an obligation to everyone for certain things that we shouldn't. And we never did in the past. I mean, I never was accountable to society at large for something, but nowadays you put something out there, and I don't know, it's like we feel like, and it's dumb stuff. I mean, I'm all about accountability for your goals and everything, but every aspect of your life, that's just overkill in my opinion. But the second thing, and this is I think a big problem, is when you talk about distractions, and you post what you had for breakfast, and then some guy that happens to follow you, happen to friend you on Facebook in China or on the other side of the world, says something about gluten like, well, you shouldn't be having gluten, whatever. And you're like, well, I just posted what I had for breakfast. And he's like, well, and then he makes some snarky comment about what you had for breakfast. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in this conversation with someone you don't even know, but with whom you are friends on Facebook, and you just spent 10 or 15 minutes in a conversation with someone on the other side of the world you don't even know, talking about your breakfast, and who even cares? It doesn't even matter. Someone's going to care, but you shouldn't. And so, anyways, I just find it all interesting how we overshare and then it just complicates our lives. It's like we're creating our own problem. You know, we overshare every little detail, and then somebody chimes in something, makes a comment, and it can even be a positive comment. It doesn't have to be an argument or a snarky debate. But somebody makes a comment and we have to reply. You can't leave it unreplied. Who does that? So we say something and then they say something back and then you say something back. And pretty soon, you know, you spent half your day talking about all this mindless, mind-numbing, meaningless conversation. When back before the onset of the internet, we actually put that time to good use. We actually put that time toward self-improvement or reading a book or spending time with family or developing a new skill or a new talent or a new relationship or, you know, any number of things. So, you know, if there's a couple of things on oversharing, if I were you, I would be cautious. It is healthy to have a certain amount of privacy. I don't think any of us likes, you know, when you get married, for example, the in-laws, you know, you don't want your spouse telling the in-laws everything that happens in your life. You're like, we're our own now. We're our own family. You grew up and I grew up and we moved out and that is over, and mom and dad don't have to know about every little thing that we do anymore. You feel like you want a little bit more independence. Well, I think that's a very healthy thing to feel and experience and to have. And so if you catch yourself oversharing about every little thing, I would encourage you to pull back. We just don't need the world to know about things. It sets us up for disappointment. And the last thing, you know, the whole comparison thing. When we do that, we start getting other people to compare. And the whole compare and despair thing is so true. If you put yourself out there, everybody else puts themselves out there, and we all look at each other's feeds, and we all see what we're doing every minute of every day. And you're now keeping track of thousands of people because you've friended thousands of people, 99% of whom you don't even know. You've just friended them because they looked interesting. And so social media can be good because you can make new friends and new relationships and form new partnerships and things that you would never have been able to do otherwise. That's great. But you have to take responsibility. You have to be diligent about managing those relationships and the privacy and who sees what. You know, if you're going to put something out there, rule of thumb, if you're going to put it out there, just think to yourself, am I okay with everybody seeing this? Including my grandma, my parents, everyone. Am I ever going to be embarrassed? Is this something that would ever come back and bite me in the butt? If the answer is, yeah, I'm totally comfortable with it, then don't worry about it. Facebook wants to steal it. What are they going to do? Publish it again? You see what I'm saying? So it's only when you put shady stuff out there that you're like, hey, wait, you know. And then I'm not talking about hacks. I'm not talking about people hacking in and stealing your personal information or your credit card or identity theft and all that stuff. That's not this. This is about you being public because employers look at social media feeds before they do job interviews. Friends, before you start dating, friends are going to look up at each other's social media feeds. Anyone you want to get to know. That's what we do now. We search out social media feeds and you can scroll down, you can see all kinds of information about that person. And it just takes a little due diligence about your privacy and your settings and being careful about what you post and avoiding the temptation to post everything just because a crazy thought or something interesting happened. Doesn't mean you need to take a picture and post it. It's okay to be private and to post less regularly and to post more thoughtfully and more carefully and those kinds of things. Anyway, so there's some thoughts about posting. I know a lot of us are on social media a lot, so it's been topical, something that I really wanted to jump on the soapbox for just a little bit, tell you how I feel. Hopefully that helps, gives you some rule of thumb. Be diligent. Ask yourself, does this really need to be posted? Am I just wasting time? Because time, if you go back and listen, I talk about time a lot. Time is your most valuable asset. It's the one thing you've got that you can never get back. And when we waste so much of it on social media because of oversharing, we're all bloated. You know, if it were a diet, we'd be obese. It's like a social media obesity, right? We waste so much time, and it's meaningless stuff. A lot of it's meaningless. So use it for good. You've got a tool. You've got a tool just like anybody. You've got a hammer. You can destroy things with the hammer, or you can build things with the hammer. Social media is your tool. Do good with it. Build things with it. Don't destroy things. And you do that by just double checking and being private about the things that should be. Anyways, hope that helps. Make some changes, and you'll be shocked in a few years from now how these small changes will impact your life. Have an awesome day.